Nearly all the advice we have been given about choosing a password is wrong. There have been numerous high-profile breaches of passwords, with one of the earliest being Adobe, where 153 million passwords and plaintext password hints were lifted. Unfortunately for everyone, Adobe's cryptography was weak, and in many cases the plaintext password hint flat out gave what the password was. It would be something as simple as rhymes with ass word. Gee, I wonder what that could be. The hacking community learned a huge amount with that single breach, such as the most common password being 123456. After many more breaches, we have learned more about the most common passwords that people choose, and that when asked to choose a password containing a capital letter, lowercase letters, and a number, the majority of people choose to have a single word with the first letter uppercase, the remaining letters lowercase, and ending with a number or symbol. So why am I telling you this? Well, you need to understand the way that most people think, and you need to break away from this crowd mentality. Being part of the crowd and choosing a common password will result in your password being cracked in a matter of minutes or seconds. Another factor identified is that many people reuse the same password across multiple websites. So say you use the same password for Adobe as you did for your email. We've established that Adobe's cryptography is horrendously weak. Your username was probably your email address. So then that's a simple guess. Oh, what's your email address? Oh, there's your password. Well, it's game over for you. Your email represents the central point of all web activity, and a hacker could use it to password reset any and all accounts you have with shopping sites, remote logins, or online banking. So your lesson here, choose a different password for each site. Next lesson, making your password complex enough. Okay, what defines a complex password? When cracking a password, a hacker will try attacking dictionary words first, and then they'll move on to leet speak. This is substituting numbers for letters and symbols for letters. For example, 3 for E, 0 for O, at for A. Using those two methods, a hacker will have cracked most passwords. This is why we're now starting to see the term passphrase. Multiple words. For example, correct horse battery staple. That's correct. Very easy to remember. However, this advice is becoming old and outdated because, can you guess how we can attack that? Well, you take a dictionary and you add each word together out of the dictionary, so a multi-word dictionary attack. Sure, it takes longer than the first two methods, but it works. So where does that leave us? Well, there are two types of passwords which can still put up a fight. The first is leet speak substitution on the multi-words. So a mixture of upper and lower case and adding in numbers and symbols across multiple words. The second is an absolutely long, random string of characters. We're talking beyond 12 characters here. And really taking as many characters as you can. I don't really understand why some sites limit the password length, but you could have 1,000 long character password. Ain't going to be cracked anytime soon. But yeah, having a random selection of letters. But okay, let's be realistic here. Random strings are overkill for each site. Realistically, we need to evaluate the damage that can be done by losing a password for each site. So let's look at some of the risk levels. Let's start with low risk. Looking at forums here, so what's the worst that can happen by losing your password on a forum? It could be loss of reputation. So let's take a simple password here. Something as simple as let me in, Mustang, or your favourite sports team. Now let's look at medium risk. So you got, for example, online shopping or a family computer. So the risk of loss of your password here is purchases could be made against your credit card, which you could claim back. So a bit of loss and inconvenience, but not huge really. So what you could do here is put together like a passphrase. So put together your favourite string or favourite TV programme. You could take something like The Penguins of Madagascar. So you can put the name of the site in the password, but as long as you've got a decent passphrase to start with, well, that's not going to be cracked anytime soon. And then more high risk, your email or online banking, where you've got the risk being the loss of all your accounts, money or savings. Ouch. Now this is quite a serious risk and you really want to protect these passwords. So take something like a very long string which can't be guessed. So we've got leet-speak substitutions in the string. Now we move on to very high risk. For example, internet-facing servers or devices. Or your Wi-Fi. Yes, people sort of forget that radio waves move outside of your boundary. So if you can see your neighbour's Wi-Fi, and they can see yours. And how easy it is to crack. So looking at the risk being remote access into your network. Now for that, I would lean more along the lines of an absolutely random string of characters. So that's splitting out the complexity of your passwords based on the site you're using. So you don't need to have a ridiculously complex password for every website. As long as you have something different and you consider the risk of what happens if you lose it, then that's fair enough. So what else can you do? You can consider the use of a password manager. I personally have never used them, but you have like KeePass or LastPass. You can even let the browser store the passwords. I've quite frankly never seen anything against that. I know many people are anti having browsers store the password. If you can protect your computer, why not? Keep it simple for you. You also have to consider how well do we trust these companies to look after our data and to store our user details. And as history has shown us, many companies completely fail.